am here with Ronica Jacobs. Okay, she is the founder of Strive for More podcast, you guys. And she has an excellent voice and she just wants to empower all of us. And I am just so grateful that she is here with us today and she's going to tell us a little bit about why she's doing this. So here we go. Well, first off, thank you so much, Ronica.
Thank you, Myya. I am so excited to talk with you. And I want to just say thank you to your listeners and your viewers. They are tuning into you to listen to us have our great conversation. And so I just want to say thank you for taking the time out during your day to spend a little time with us.
Honey, the pleasure is all ours. Okay, certainly. Okay, so you got to give me, and I'm gonna get into the questions, but I've gotten this whole thing with the motivational speaking and different things like that. But you have one other thing, I got questions about. You are a principal? Look at her. Okay, you don't look like any of the principals I've ever known.
Well, actually, I'm an assistant principal. I'm not a principal yet, but I know it's coming soon. But no, I'm an assistant principal. Yes, I am at an elementary school.
See, most of us are still in elementary terms, so we definitely appreciate it. All right. So, okay, my question. So why the podcast?
That is a very interesting question. I started out doing leadership consulting and with the Strengths Finder model. And I was doing these motivational talks and I was writing content because it was all aligned with my doctoral program in transformational leadership, because I love transformational leadership. I love change, why we commit to change, why we resist change, why change is kind of scary for us. What do we fear? All of that in leadership. And so I was writing content and I was publishing articles on LinkedIn. And then someone was like, you know what, you can record that information into a podcast. So I was like, okay, well, I don't really know much about podcasts. I listened to a few podcasts, but I really didn't know what it was all about. So I started doing research and searching, how do you start a podcast and what do you need to do? And I was like, oh, this is fairly simple. I think I could do this. So I would write content and then I would publish it and then I would just, kind of send it out there, but it wasn't a major thing. I did solo cast episodes. I did several different series. One I have on growing your inner circle and, creating a great network. And then I wrote another one about knowing your worth and the value that you hold within yourself and making decisions and, how to be assertive and self-confidence. So I just started recording all of these things, right? So then as I was going along, I would get inbox messages on LinkedIn of people saying, oh, I just love your podcast. I would like to be a guest on your show. And so I would think, have you even listened to the podcast? Because that's not what I do. I don't have guests on my show. And so then a good friend of mine suggested, well, maybe you should have guests. Maybe you should talk to people. And I was like, well, I'm not a journalist. Like, I'm not a reporter. That's not what I do. So although, I really love like Oprah and, Barbara Walters and all those people, but I was like, I'm an educator. Like, that's not what I do. So I started thinking about it and I was like, okay, strive for more. Well, you know what? At any point in our lives, we are all striving for more, whether it's in your finances, for wealth, for your health, your relationship, your career, parenting, you name it, life in general. We're always, striving for more. And there's areas where you want to improve. And sometimes you are, at a plateau, or you've kind of become stagnant, or you've reached a fork in the road. And so each one of my guests, they offer wonderful insight in different areas. And I mean, I call it free game is what I call it. They're really, really great people. So, yes.
Certainly. Okay. So in that, in that, so like, what do you find that is the most helpful to the people that are contacting you?
Um, which people, the guests or just the
Well, the
listeners?
people that are listening.
So one of the things that I get often is that when a person listens to an episode, often they tell me, I really enjoyed listening to that particular episode. It gave me such great insight. And or I was just really struggling and I didn't know where to turn or what my next step was going to be. And I listened to one of your episodes and it just really gave me the motivation that I needed. For example, I have an episode about it's a gentleman named Matt, and he has a company called Flock Goods. And Matt was in a car accident, a single car accident. He was a passenger, and the person that was driving flipped the car. Right, was driving reckless and flipped the car. And as a result, he was internally decapitated, right? So he talked about his journey through, just redemption for the friendship. And he talked about the journey of rehabilitation and recovery and how he got through being, really in a negative space. And so I had a couple of people contact me and say, I had an accident once. I really was down. I really thought, my life was over. And I listened to that episode and they told me that it really helped them. It really helped them kind of reset and realize that this was only a moment in time and that they could really push forward. So that's an example of one of the episodes. And I mean, another episode is I had a couple on, Dr. Atina Young and her husband, Travis Young, who's soon to be Dr. Young as well. And they talked about having high profile positions in education, but also being married and being parents and how they navigate through all of that because they're both ambitious people. And there are a lot of couples out there that are super ambitious, right? And they're trying to figure out like, okay, is it your turn or is it my turn? Or is it, are we supposed to go together? Or like, who's supposed to take the back seat? Or are we taking a back seat? And how to not make it a negative type of, concept. As a couple, you can both be ambitious and you can both support each other and have your dreams materialize. And so they just kind of shared information about their relationship. And I've had a couple of people, that is actually my number one episode that people have listened to. It's my most downloaded episode for that couple. It's called I Do, We Do. It's called I Do, You Do, We Do. It's the title of the episode. And people just love it. Love it. I mean, they're real people that are going through real things. And I think that's what people love.
Exactly. No, certainly. You know what? I think it's really, really empowering that you can have those type of people, because a lot of the times we don't, us as podcasters, I think sometimes we don't get the full picture of like who needs what, or whatever.
Yeah.
And you can only kind of go off of what that one person said. Oh, that one did it for me, and different things like that. But
Yes.
you don't really get the full scope. And I mean, the fact that you have that scope and my scope is different, and it's just like, but we're all getting a piece of something for the people. So I think that is like so amazing. So what do you think, like, for the most part, your primary focus is in regards to your podcast?
I think my primary focus is elevating people, elevating and amplifying voices, right? So for me, each one of my guests, of course, some of them are, well-renowned authors, they are coaches, they are people who, are speakers, they're leaders. So they're really great people, right? So they're people within themselves that are naturally high achievers. And they're very ambitious. They're very motivated. They love to strive for more, because that's one of the criteria to be a guest on my show. You have to be a person who is striving for more, and that you have reached some type of obstacle or roadblock, and that you found a way either over it, around it, or under it. Or sometimes you just bust right through it, right? So you have to be a person who has demonstrated that, you have not allowed something to keep you down. And so I feel like those types of stories need to be shared, right? Because like I said before, at any point in our lives, we're all striving for more. And so some of these people, they get it. They like, you know what? I figured it out. So let me
Right.
share with you what I figured out. Let me give you an education. Let me give
True.
you a couple of tips. Now, you may not, like the tips that they share, they may not align with you. They may not. It's okay, right? Because we deal with things in our own way and on our own and on our own terms. Sorry,
Yeah.
but it's just that you can take pieces of advice from someone, right? When someone gives you advice, you can take pieces of it. You don't have to take all of it as law or as a rule for your life to, to live by. But I feel like I have an audience that I can expose each person who is a guest on my show. I can expose them to my audience. I have a worldwide audience, right? So people listen to my show worldwide, and it's really amazing. And they have a platform of their own. And so it's just really a cooperation between the guest and myself of amplifying voices, my voice, their voice, and just sharing information with the world. That's one thing. I'm an educator, right? So by trade, by natural, my natural inclination is to educate people.
Exactly. No, I love that because all we want to do, we definitely want to motivate you. We want to mostly at the same time, we feel like our focus might be inspiration as well. Like, yes, don't stop there. There, you don't know what's behind this. You don't see, that you're working out those muscles, you're getting those muscles ready for the next peak, or the next mountain. So, we definitely want to, support the communities and different things like that. And like, you're building something. You're building not only the Strive for More community, but you're building the people that are in the community to expose others. So it's just like that olive branch to pretty much everyone, and I love that. So the training, okay, I got questions. Okay, training. When you say training, the training that you were doing prior, so how did you balance that?
So when I would do the trainings, basically I used my natural strengths and talents, which is what I train other people on how to use their natural strengths and abilities, right? So I took this assessment through Gallup. A couple of people, I'm sure you've taken that same assessment in your jobs, perhaps. It's called the Strengths Finder. So one of my strengths is input. So, and what that means is I'm a collector of something. And so what I'm a collector of information. That's what I love. I read, I, scour the internet. I'm curious about something. I'm like, what is that all about? And so I Google it and then I look it up. I ask questions. So I'm really curious a lot of times about a lot of different, themes and concepts and just different anything, right? So, and part of that is then I like to turn around and then share it with the world or share it with others. And so I always have, what, I know something about there. And there are people out there that are like that too. Have you ever had a conversation with someone and you talk about I don't know, could be anything, right? And they go, you know what, I once tried this and I know there's this great product or there's this, great thing that you could do, right? So I'm one of those people now. I try to not monopolize all conversations with my knowledge, right? Because it can kind of get like, oh Lord, here she goes again, trying to tell us what to do. but just knowing that I have a wealth of information and and it's just a different strategy or a different way of doing things just to think about, and I like to share that. So I was just, helping people, and sometimes we're stuck, and there's nothing wrong with that. I've had moments that I've been stuck myself, and just sometimes I have someone who can sit there and just be my thought partner, and just so that I can just talk out whatever it is that I need to talk out. But also just recognizing that we all have natural strengths and talents that are just natural to us without even thinking about it, right? Like as if a person is an artist. I cannot draw to save my life. Like when I was teaching in the classroom and I would try to draw pictures and I would be like, Miss Jacobs, what is that? And I would be like, it's a chair. And they'd be like, no, that's not a chair. It looks like a book. I'd be like, well, it's a chair. So anyway, so just understanding that, but then there's another person who is an artist and they're talented, and you ask them to draw something and they just make this awesome, immaculate picture, and and they do it without effort, right? They just do it. And it's amazing. And so it's about leading your life in that way, leading your life using your natural God-given talents that you have. And then if you are a leader of a team, recognizing those particular talents in the members of your team, and then amplifying that, right? And that's also the same thing I do with my podcast. Like, people contact me, and I'll give you an example. So people contact me and they may be a chiropractor, right? But then they say, I wrote this really great book about, managing your finances. And so then sometimes I'm like, well, why don't you talk about being a chiropractor? Because actually, that's really amazing. Being a chiropractor is really cool. And there's some things that you can share with us, associated with your chiropractic practice. Right. So, and those are things that people naturally do, and then they go, well, I never thought of it. And not that I don't want to, amplify them and give them that platform, because I still, point out, that they may have advice and tips on wealth building. But, it's whatever profession or things that you naturally do that speak to you, you are the expert on, and you're the expert on it because you're drawn to it, and so then you know it. So why not share that?
Yes. And see, I think that's what I try to get from, me interviewing others, and I'm like, wait, what are you doing? Okay, no, send me the bio. I need to know, what did you do from point A to point B? Yep. So that I can get like a very firmer understanding as to, what makes your heart go, what it is, because I need that thing, so we can talk about it, because of the fact that, the people that are listening or even watching are more so they'll cling on to that thing rather than the other thing. So I'm like, you're an educator. Yes. Okay. So what are you doing with the children? What's happening? So you want to, if that's the thing that actually made you, you definitely want to give that the spotlight. Not to say that that was the other thing wasn't the passion, because you did do it. I mean, I don't want to take nothing away from that, but at the same time, you're more focused on this, and like you said, you're doing it without even thinking about it, right? Like, it's just second wind for you, so know so much more about it and the aspects of it than anybody else. So
exactly,
let's do that, definitely. Okay, so let's see here, cause your sister girl wants to figure out, like, how is your programming? Like, how often do you actually get on, or are you, what are your scheduled days?
Right. So all of my interviews are pre-recorded. So people book with me using my Calendly link, and they choose, I already put the days and times that I'm available. And so then you just kind of click on that link, and then you just kind of pick the day and time that you're available. And so I really put it in my guest's hands. I mean, I already set it up to when I'm available and when I'm not, right? So then all you have to do as a guest, you just click on the link, and then you look for a date and time where you're available and that works best for your schedule. It's really in your hands. You go through a booking process, answering a couple of questions that kind of help me shape the interview. And then from there, when it's time, we log on to the call and we just chat like old friends, right? And we are able to chat like old friends because I've researched the person, and then I send the questions ahead of time, and they approve the questions, and then we go from there. So it's really, by the time we get on the call, everyone's comfortable, right? Everyone's comfortable, and yes, it can be pretty scripted, but I feel like I've been able to not make it feel so scripted, but it
Right.
seems to be okay and natural because, again, people are talking about things that are natural to them, that are their unique talents. As even with myself, I mean, I feel like I've grown as an interviewer and as a host. I didn't think that this was my forte, right? But another, of course, like I said, I'm a high achiever. That's one of my talents. Naturally, I'm going to always make sure I put out a high quality product. That's just who I am. Naturally, I can try and stop and not be that, but that's not who I am, right? So I embrace that. Input is another one, right? So I'm going to gather information. So that speaks to the research, right? So I'm going to research you because I love to find out information about you because I want to know about you. Okay. And then I'm strategic. And so with the strategies that I have is that I want to make sure that you are, you're going through a booking process that is comprehensible and it's comfortable to you. So once I do all that and go through the process, and then every Monday I publish an episode. I published 2 episodes. So I go through that process, and I have plenty of interviews that I can upload, and just so people can check out every Monday. There's 2 episodes that come out.
Nice. Okay, so how can we find you?
Well, so you definitely can download me on Apple Podcasts. You have to search Strive, the number 4 and more. So Strive for More. You can find me on Google. You can find me on Pandora. You could find me on Spotify. I just recently, I believe I'm being uploaded to Amazon Audible. They contacted me and asked me if I would be interested in having my podcast on their platform, so I was very honored. If you are a YouTube watcher, so you can also listen to my episodes on YouTube. So you just search Strive for More. Remember, it's the number 4, right? So it's Strive for More podcast. And again, any podcast player, you can search Strive for More and you can find it.
That is so awesome. So what do we have to look forward to?
So the episode, I have several different great people coming out in the next couple of weeks. I have a couple of wealth episodes. I've had some career building episodes. I've had some episodes of just about life in general, parenting episodes. I've got one for the ladies talking about body image, and accepting and embracing your sexuality. So I'm really excited about that one. I had a really great conversation with Sharika Brantley, and so that's coming up soon. But I mean, many people, Damon Naylor and Rocky Romanella and Dr. Wendy Labat, and I mean, the list goes on and on. This coming week, I'm working on episodes by Dr. John McGrail, who is a hypnotherapist, and then Mara Sweeney, who talks about emotional intelligence. And so, like I said, there's so many people that I have coming for this season. Right now, I'm in season 3. I've just now closed out my calendar for season 4, and in January I'll start scheduling guests for season 5. So it's really, really cool.
That is super cool. So I appreciate your energies, dearest. You have been phenomenal, and I can't wait to see you explode the way that you're going to, because I see it. And so certainly, we definitely want to give everyone, your information. How can they reach you?
Well, you can visit my website. It's striveformorepodcast.com. Remember, strive, the number 4, more, podcast.com. And you can actually go to my about page and you can send me a voice message, and I actually will respond back to you as well. And or if you're interested in receiving any motivational content on a daily basis, you can just email me at striveformore@email.com. Sorry about that. But yes, and also, you can join my Facebook page and my Facebook community. It's Strive for More Podcast. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. So I am everywhere. You can find me all over social media. Please connect with me. I'd love to hear from you. I do I do speak and connect with each person that contacts me. So, and you're really getting me, you're not getting a bot. You're really getting the real deal. So, and I try my best to make sure that I respond to each and every one of you, because I appreciate you taking the time out to listen to me, to listen to my guests. And supporting me. So thank you. And I also have a Patreon page. And so if you're interested in supporting my podcast, you can find me on Patreon. You just go to patreon.com and search Strive for More. And you can get, episodes before anyone else and other exclusive content if you join.
Nice. See, she has plenty of things for you guys, not just the wealth of knowledge, but, just the supportability and her being behind you, and different things like that. We appreciate your time and your energy, dear heart, so much. Thank you so much for joining me, Lady Myya. You guys, I think, we got the jackpot here, okay? So definitely take advantage of her show. She's a very sweet individual, and yes, the Calendly, that probably does work, because a sister don't know how to work that thing. But it's all right. Certainly. And I thank you guys so much, and we will see you guys later.
Bye. Continue to strive for more and live your best life